Hey, fifth grade, how's it going? Today's Tuesday, August 11th, 2020. Today we're going to continue subtracting fractions. So, let's get started. In last time's class, what we were doing, boys and girls, is just understanding that when you subtract fractions, it's basically the same concept as when you're adding fractions. If you don't understand how to add fractions, make sure you take a look at some of the other videos that we've done and check that out. For example, if we are adding fractions and they have the same denominator, in other words, a like denominator, all we do is just add across. 2 plus 2 is 4. So 4/5 would be our answer for the first problem. Adding across makes adding like fractions very easy because all you have to do is add the numerators. But what happens if you have a problem where the denominators are not the same? Well, that means that we need to do a little bit more difficult steps, right? Basically, what we need to do is convert the denominators to be the same exact number. We can do that by multiplying. For example, if we have 1/2 plus 1/3, we just multiply 2 times 3 to get 6, and 3 times 2 to get 6. Now, halves and thirds are both sixths, and we can easily add the fractions together by adding the numerators just like normal. 3 plus 2 equals 5. Now, here's the procedure of how you do that. Adding fractions is pretty easy as long as you understand that the denominators need to be the same. Here's another example. 1/3 plus 2/5. We would take 1 times 5, which equals 5, and 3 times 2, which equals 6. Okay? And we would just add those two numerators together. 5 plus 6 equals 11. Once we know that our numerators are the same, we just make sure that we do the same thing with the denominators. Okay? Those denominators are a very key aspect of being able to add or subtract fractions. Now that we've done a little bit of review, I just want to make sure that you understand that any number over itself equals 1. So when you're trying to convert a fraction into a whole number, it's important that you understand that, for example, 7/7 is equal to the whole number 1, or 3/3 is equal to the whole number 1. Pause the video and see if you can do the other two problems on the bottom. All right, so now you know any number over itself equals 1. So 8/8 is 1, and 5/5 is 1. I think it's important that we do a little bit of review before we start the problems, boys and girls. Just letting you know, whenever we have a whole number, you can also separate that whole number into equal parts. For example, the whole number 1 equals 4/4. Or if we're trying to convert an improper fraction to a mixed number, we need to understand that, for example, this whole number 1 is 4/4 plus 4/4 plus 4/4 plus 3/4. 15/4 is the same as 3 and 3/4. They're exactly the same, just written a little bit different. I think it's important that we review just so we understand that before we get to the problems for today. Last time, what we did was we were working on page 57, and we did problems A, B, C, and D. Here's an example of what we did for D. We multiplied 10 times 4 and 4 times 10 to get the same denominator. 40 is our denominator, as you can see down here. Then what we did was multiply those numerators by the same numbers that we multiplied below. 9 times 4 is 36, and 3 times 10 is 30. Now that we have the same denominators, what we can do is just subtract like normal. 36 minus 30 equals 6, and our denominator stays the same. But what we need to do is simplify our fraction. So before we're finished, we need to understand that 6 and 40 can both be divisible by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 40 divided by 2 is 20. Our final answer is 3/20. All right, so what we're going to do today is continue with the next problem. The next problem is also on page 57, letter E. Letter E says 1 1/5 minus 2/3. How do I do that problem? Well, I need to understand that our denominators are not the same. I can multiply 5 times 3 and 3 times 5 to get my same denominator. I do the same thing on the top with our numerators. And my new fractions are 3/15 minus 10/15. Now that my denominators are the same, I'm going to continue. But I can't forget about this 1. As mentioned earlier, a whole number can be converted into a fraction. 15/15 will suffice. Now, before I continue with my subtraction, I'm going to add my whole number with my fraction. 15 plus 3 equals 18. So really, my problem has converted into 18/15 minus 10/15. You'll see how I just added 15 plus 3. 18 minus 10 equals 8. And 15 is my denominator. So 8/15 is my final answer. Letter F is pretty similar. What we need to do is convert our denominators to be the same. We need to have like denominators. And if I count by tens, for example, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, we have my multiples of 10 and my multiples of 6. Let's see. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. I'm going to stop right there because we already have a similar multiple. 30 is our similar multiple. So what number can I multiply 10 by to get 30? And what number can I multiply 6 by to get 30? Well, let's do that. I'm going to erase everything on the board. 10 times what number equals 30? Well, we know that that's 3. And 6 times what number equals 30? I know that that's 5. So I'm going to multiply my numerators by the same number that I multiplied my denominator by. And my new fractions are 3/30 minus 5/30. I can't forget my whole number, which is also 30ths. 30 over 30 equals 1. I'm going to add these just like I did before. 30 plus 3 is 33. So 33/30 is my improper fraction. It looks kind of strange because I'm combining my whole number with my fraction. And I'm going to continue with the subtraction. 33 minus 5. My denominators stay the same, so 33 minus 5 equals 28. 28/30 is my answer. But before I decide that this is my final answer, I'm going to see if I can simplify. I can. What factor? Could I divide by 2, 3, 4, 5? Well, 30 is divisible by 5, but 28 isn't. 30 is also divisible by 3, but 28 isn't. What about 2? Yes, 30 divided by 2 equals 15, and 28 divided by 2 equals 14. So 14/15 is my final answer. All right, so that concludes the problem F. What we're going to do, boys and girls, is just take a look at these problems one more time. Check your answers to make sure that they're okay. Today, in one of the classes, we were able to do a Kahoot. Now this Kahoot was a little bit difficult, okay? We're going to do a quiz on Friday just to understand this concept, but I just want to point out a couple of problems. Congratulations to those students in 5th grade that achieved success on this problem. When we're adding or subtracting fractions, we need to understand that they need to have like denominators. Otherwise, we cannot continue with the problem. So before you quickly add the numerators, you need to see if the denominators are the same. Okay, so keep that in mind as we continue practicing this concept. Next time, what we're going to be doing is continuing practicing adding and subtracting fractions, but now we're going to include more whole numbers inside of our problem. So keep practicing that, and we'll see you on Friday.